This week in comics in the lands of DC, we get Penguin, One Bad Day. And it was good. It was legitimately good with some good stuff in it that we can take a look at. Also in the lands of Marvels, we get Crypt of Shadows. It tried. I'm trying to be more positive these days. And in the land of Independence, we get Eve, Children of the Moon. I'm missing something here, and I may need some of you wonderful weirdos' help. All that, a few other comic books, and what's going on this weekend. We're going to talk about it. Let's jump into this. Hey, what's going on, you wonderful weirdos? It's Pocan Joe, and I'm back with another week of comic books. If you don't know, I'm basically a middle-aged man. I read a bunch of comic books, and when I see interesting stuff in it, I put it down on another piece of paper so I can regurgitate it to you. So let's jump into this week's with One Bad Day. This is the Penguin's story. This was good. So, little catch-up, right? Got to have a little preface it to get this. A gentleman by the name of the Umbrella Man, who used to hold the umbrella for the Penguin. Not the most original name for a villain, right? Double crosses the Penguin, beats him up, takes his empire, and apparently we kind of get this really cool concept of who's in charge of crime, right? And what they allow and what they don't allow, right? So, like, think of the mafia back in the day, right? There was a starch rule throughout the mafias that no drugs, right? Eventually that decayed and they got into it, but there was no drugs, right? And also you had certain rules you had to follow and what laws you could break, and these laws were forced down to other criminals in the area to kind of police themselves, police their own criminal organizations. This is something that the Penguin did. He even relayed this to Batman. He was like, you think you kept Gotham safe, Slim? I'm the one that made the rules. I'm the one that set the line for everybody to follow, and you just cleaned up the little tidbits, because Batman is completely overworked, mostly because this umbrella guy's like, I don't care what you do, just send me my cut, right? So like everything, guns, drugs, the whole night, everything's just going crazy, everybody's losing their minds. Gotham got worse basically. Right? It became like Chicago times 2. Anyway, so basically this story is kind of like that game that kids were running around playing for, the trade up game. You know, like you walk around with something worthless and you try to get to like a specific item. That's how this kind of played out, because the very first thing the Penguin wants is a gun, and he gets a broken revolver with 1 bullet, and like he just trades up. He gets a gun with 3 bullets, a little nicer gun. Then he's got henchmen, and then like crazy henchmen. But we also learned that, go figure this out, Penguin's been kind of a jerk, stepping on people's necks as he climbs. He kind of leaves his friends behind. Is that good, bad? Sometimes it just needs to be done. But in this particular case, it was obviously wrong. So, the moral lesson in this was, hey, bring your friends with you. Your friends will always be there for you. And eventually he regains his criminal empire back. I know this is going to sound bad, but it was actually kind of a heartwarming story about a villain being a villain. I enjoyed it. All right, next, World's Finest. So our guy here, Thunderboy, is officially called Thunderboy now. Robin goes into some extremely complicated reason why he deserves this name, and basically he's just describing what a sonic boom is. And then we have our first major thing where superheroes need to be spread out. He kind of has to jump in there. Worst case scenario, he gets scared and runs off because he's coming from a planet that was literally destroyed with his parents on it. Although I do have to correct one thing in here, and I thought this was kind of, I don't know, it's a minor thing. Supergirl at one point says, you may be suffering from survivor's guilt. And I would say he's actually suffering from something worse, because he does kind of break down in this and pause up. Like, it was really emotional. But I'm going to say he suffers from something worse than survivor's guilt. It's not really worse, right? But let's just say something a little bit more deeper. Because survivor guilt, yes, it exists, and it's a horrible thing, I have no doubt. But in this particular dimension that he's in, it's kind of like a replicate of his, he saw his parents, and they rejected him here. So, like, the spitting image of his parents that died don't like him, don't want to deal with him, or at least that's in the teenager's mind, right? Like they rejected him. His loving parents, like, he can't tell he can tell the difference, but it doesn't mean it makes sense. So yeah, and then sprinkle a little survivor's guilt in there too. Like, that's gotta be, I can't imagine what that was like. Oh, that's got to be rough. All in all, good, heartfelt story in here. And we get the Keymaster. He's kind of playing games right now, and it looks like he's teamed up with the Joker. But it looks like we got a more sadistic Joker in this. So I'm really kind of excited about that. I'm kind of tired of the boring Joker stories that have been popping off in DC. I kind of want, the Joker doing bad things. Because he's a bad guy. You would think you wouldn't have to say that. Welcome to 2022. All right, next, something a little out of pocket for me. I went ahead and picked up Flash because I heard in solicitation that it was going to be based around wrestling and stuff like that. So I got this. And man, what great fun. And what a great point in this, too. You can tell a lot of these DC writers are like, hey, let's just, let's write about passions and things we're passionate about with a little moral lesson, maybe even a little ethical lesson that I think we can all agree on. So Wally West here, he's back home, he's got a family, and, he's doing the superhero thing, and he's doing all this stuff, and he just looks tired and drugged out, and just, but he's happy, right? That's okay. He's happy, which I can feel this way sometimes. And then an intergalactic wrestling match happens on Earth, and he zooms out there to try to stop it, and come to find out, it's all like, yeah, the Lantern Corps doesn't like it, but like, they evacuate the area and they have robots to fix everything. Like, they're taking care of it, right? So, good and bad at the same time. And this over the top, pun intended, wrestler is like, bro is what he kept calling him. It was great. He's like, bro, you got to take some time for yourself and do something fun. So, him and the wrestler get into an intergalactic tag team match and start whipping up on wrestlers. You get some great cameos in here from Ball. Remember Ball from back in the 90s? Good stuff. We also got Lobo was in it. That female Blue Beetle character who's kind of like a panel jumper type character. Get some of that. But in the end, it was like, yes, you do all this other stuff. And then, yes, it's tiring and it's mind-boggling and it's drug. But, every now and then you need something to kind of jolt you alive, right? Like, read comic books and talk about them online, or build things in your own evil lair, right? You need these kind of things. They make for a healthier person. Art in here is pretty DC-ish art. But again, for somebody that doesn't read a whole lot. Oh, also, we got another crisis coming. It was hinted to in here. And of course, they have to defend their title since they took it. So we may be getting some more of this. I kind of hope so. This is pretty good. All right, next, Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I read it, right? Dream, woo-woo, probably magical stuff, sound wave science, woo, a lot of woo-woo crammed in here. Lots of woo-woo, so much woo-woo. But the art's really cool in it. That's how you know I'm about to say something bad about it, by the way. I'm just sorry. I couldn't get behind this story. I don't know why Spider-Man's in LA. I don't know why this experiment with sound waves. I don't understand the preface of this story. And even if I take myself out of that train of thought and I just read the story, I don't think I care. I think that's the problem. Good question, though, to ask is, or Bear at the end. Bear seems to be a thing in here, too. Is that Demon Bear from New Mutants? Remember Demon Bear? It was like in the first few issues. They did a horrible rendition of it in the movies. I don't know. I'm not liking it. Because at one minute I'm thinking it has something to do with Carnage, right? Because the swirly eye, that's kind of his symbol. And then we got Demon Bear, and then we got Stones with writing on it, and then the science woo-woo stuff. And it just turned into it's kind of a mess. And again, that's not a reflection on the writer. It's a reflection of me as thinking linearly. The way I read things. So, yeah. I wasn't too much into that. Another story I just could not get behind. It seemed like this was like a pushing for Maybe some story character based that aren't really going anywhere. The only one that was relatively entertaining to me was the last one with Man Thing and X-23. That one was pretty cool. The rest of this is just like characters that I'm vaguely familiar with because I dropped their runs or something along those lines. And our Crypt Keeper, if you will, is Doctor Strange's brother. They've been hitting at him for a while now. Looks like he may be breaking free soon. Morbius was in it. I think we've all had enough of Morbius. And the new Werewolf by Night character whose run was okay, but for the most part, most people don't remember it. So yeah, it just seemed like a push for these other characters to get some traction. I don't know. Something that was decent for Marvel. Midnight Suns. By the way, it's Suns with a U now, not an O. They make it a point to say it. I'll make a point to support that you know that. So Midnight Suns with a U. Agatha's got Zombie Queen off in some remote castle that she lived in hundreds of years ago. Apparently, we understand what this Zoltar character is. We've even got a reference to Doctor Strange using, by the power of Zoltar, you will be banished. One of those weird spells wherever he names off the character it has the power. Doctor Doom faces off in the Strange Academy against our current run of Midnight Suns with a U. So basically, that's that. What is it? The girl from the Runaways with the staff who's all gothy and Asian. Yeah. Who else? Wolverine, Blade, of course. The librarian of the school. Who else? Oh, the Native American, or the native. Let's just say native. The native Ghost Rider character. He's all snarky. So everybody's so snarky. And magic, of course. So yeah, I mean, it was okay. It was all right. If you want to read this and you're thinking you're getting a Strange Academy story, even with Strange Academy characters in it, yeah, no, I don't think you'll see it the same way as that. But if you want to read it for its own independence, definitely, definitely. Next, Alien. So we left off with this one with the whole cyborg thing. The cyborg genetic warrior types, right? They're going to go to a planet and they got to get a xenomorph egg that's there. Apparently, you can't live on this planet because the radiation's so bad, so you got to send in, right, the robot, the ninja super duper robot people. So they go in there, they clear the rooms and everything, they find the eggs missing, then they tap on some glasses because they found some flies that were alive in it. I'm not even kidding, that actually happened. It's like, tick, 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 tick. All of a sudden they hear a tick, 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 tick somewhere in the background, so they're like, oh crap, something's here. For super sophisticated robots, you think they would have been a little bit more stealthy about going to find out what that noise was, but nah, they're robots. So they run through there and come find out it's a xenomorph trap. Bam, right? So they're blasting, taking damage, and big epic battle scenes. It was actually kind of cool. And then they're starting to get overrun when the cockroaches of all species shows up. Humanity. Gotta give us credit. We will live just about anywhere. Somehow another group of people have lived for a while on this planet now. Of course, they've had to make some adaptations, and they're saved the super ninja robot people. And apparently they don't really like them to begin with, so we'll see where that goes. All right, so here's where I need your help. Eve. Children of the Moon. Was there a run before this that I need to go get? The reason why is because it kind of reads that way. It implies that I should already know some stuff in here, and it keeps dropping hints to something that happened in the past, and I'm just like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me. So I'm assuming that I missed something out there because I really enjoyed this little not android, but robot bear looking thing. The people living in Wisconsin, all these kids kind of running and controlling stuff while the two sisters are up in the moon. And then there's people in Wisconsin, just kind of tribalism that they have there, and they're kind of the fringe from the society. What is it about Wisconsin? That seems to be a trope here lately, where like Wisconsin is kind of like this broken fringe group of people that live in, like Siberia or something. That's how they're being treated. Even in here, it was like covered in snow, and everybody else was fine. It's weird. Um, but yeah, I really like this. I just need a little bit more preface it to it. Like, did the bear kill her father? Right? Because that was kind of dropped in here. And why did that happen? And they're like, no, we reprogrammed it. It's fine. And I'm like, what? I don't know. I don't know. But that's a very minor hang up. Like, after this issue, I should just be able to go right into the next issue. Because it seemed like they were trying to make that a catch up. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Good stuff. All right, guys. So be sure to check out starting tomorrow, the 21st. Comics Curing Cancer is launching off over at Legion of Comics. I have a short video where it kind of has the times and what channels and where people are going to be. It's also in the description down below. So definitely, you can jump on different channels. Everything's there for you. Friday night at 4 p.m. I will be over at Rob's Fat Stacks channel. And myself and a bunch of artists are going to be making things for you and auction it off there. I'm going to make a Hydra Pirate doubloon ring. Because that just sounds cool. So I'm going to make that. And I'm going to auction it off. And of course, you'll get one of my mystery boxes. And I will play with mystery boxes. You're going to be like, wow, it's like he knows me. Or something like that. I don't know. So definitely all weekend long this is going to be going on. Definitely check it out. Also, if you're going to Baltimore Comic Con, let me know in the description down below. Love to meet up with you, talk comic books, high five each other, or whatever the case may be. That sounds fun to me. I need a vacation so bad. I can't wait to get there. Okay, guys. I got to get out of here. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.